Who is Kat Abughazaleh? That's what we're going to find out. Let's check this shit out here. Liberal social media sensation Kat Abughazaleh announces run for Congress. Abughazaleh is taking on incumbent Democratic Rep. Jan Schakowsky in Illinois' 9th District. I know Jan Schakowsky, god damn it, is 80 years old and is a 14-term congresswoman. So let's see what our girl Kat can offer. And what may be the first campaign announcement in U.S. history ever to use the F word, the progressive social media sensation Kat Abughazaleh released a video Monday that kicked off her bid to unseat Democratic Representative Jan Schakowsky of Illinois. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are dismantling democracy piece by piece, and so many Democrats seem content to sit back and let them, Abughazaleh said in the video. So I say it's time to drop the excuses and grow a fucking spine. After graduating from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. with a degree in international security, Abughazaleh took a job with left-leaning watchdog group Media Management before being hired by Mother Jones in 2024. She's best known for videos in which she derides Fox News and conservative personalities. Let's take a look at this. TikTok, baby.
It's been more than a week since Trump's mugshot was released, and Fox News has finally decided on a narrative.
Oh,
racism.
damn it.
I know I shouldn't be surprised, but
shit.
I don't think anyone could have expected the sheer level of mental gymnastics. The coverage started with Laura Ingraham claiming that Trump's mugshot mirrors the mood of the nation, which, to be fair, is true if that mood is ruining Christmas for all of Whoville. But less than an hour later, Raymond Arroyo came with a new narrative.
You know, I'll give Trump credit. Turning that into a marketing opportunity was brilliant. It just shows why he's the GOAT. No, I'm just being silly. But let's see what Kat has to say.
And as one black lady I spoke with earlier today here in New Orleans said, Trump's a gangster. And that means he has cred among a new block of voters.
Yeah, according to Raymond Arroyo,
Cred?
Trump is now a
Who said cred
gangsta,
since
which means
1997?
all black people love him. It's a lot to
I'll look
assume
red as a
Raymond
tomato.
Arroyo has ever spoken to a black person, much less empathized with one. But he wasn't the only one with this line of thinking. Here's Jesse Waters less than an hour later.
The mugshots turned Trump into a sympathetic character in black America.
Waters then compared Trump to MLK and John Lewis, and then doubled down this past week.
Black Americans throughout our history have felt unfairly victimized by the system. Historically, there's some truth to that. The mugshot unintentionally created a bond between Donald Trump and black Americans.
There is just so much to unpack here. First of all, haven't you spent years talking about how the justice system is super fair and how systemic racism isn't real? And second, there is so much that's offensive here, but the idea that a man on trial for disenfranchising black voters is now a universal hero to them or anyone, much less a hero comparable to Martin Luther King Jr., is disgusting. I mean, Jesse Waters is truly one of the most racist people at Fox News.
I don't know, man. You got some tough company there. You know, you got your Sean Hannitys, you got your Laura Ingrams. You know, that's a tough crowd there. But God, Jesse Waters is so stupid, God. It's nice to hear him called out.
It's unbelievable that he thinks he can relate to anyone that doesn't have a country club membership and a hate crime under their belt. Honestly, that applies to a lot of Fox News. And also to the guy with the mugshot.
You know, it's kind of messed up that, you know, Republicans do not perform well with the black demographic. That's been the case for decades. You know, Donald Trump pulling away as much of the black vote as he did. I think it was 20% of black males voted for Trump, which is enormous. I think the best number since Reagan. But, you know, the only way, like, the Republicans, you know, it's kind of fucked up. The only way Republicans and, like, conservatives can, like, relate to black people is by being arrested. What does that really say? What were they trying to imply? That's kind of fucked up. Not to sound woke, of course, but let's see, get into this article a little bit more. On TikTok, she has over 217,000 followers, nearly 200,000 more on X. Some of her videos have received more than 1 million views. Interesting. Daughter of a Palestinian immigrant father and a seventh-generation Texan mother, Abughazaleh grew up in an upper-income middle-class section of Dallas. HuffPost reported both her parents were politically conservative Fox News viewers. I know what that's like. My dad listens to The Bulwark. Yuck. But, yeah, let's actually watch her campaign announcement. There's some good stuff in here.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk are dismantling our country piece by piece. And so many Democrats seem content to just sit back and let them. So I say it's time to drop the excuses and grow a fucking spine. I'm Kat Abughazaleh, and I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 9th District. Unfortunately, this party has become one where you have to look to the exceptions for real leadership, as the majority work from an outdated playbook. We need a makeover, which means we need a vision that's bigger than what we've been told is possible. There is absolutely no
Like, one thing, okay, I ask other, like, left-wing people, like, who is a progressive, possibly, like, congressperson or rep or whoever, like any kind of political figure who you think would be inspiring, who you think could kind of carry the torch of, like, leftism, progressivism, what have you, who can kind of pick up that slack and kind of run with it, kind of in the spirit of AOC. Some people think AOC is a shill. I did a video about Jimmy Dore trashing AOC and all that shit. But who is young and dynamic in the party that could possibly be a good, candidate for the future? Somebody we could have in Congress to actually push good legislation forth and actually kind of we need to replace the gerontocracy. Ken Klippenstein talks all the time. All these 70-year-old Democratic Congress creatures passing out, dying in office. It's insane. There's like some new guy having a stroke every week or having some senior moment. It's really pathetic that there's so many 80-year-old, 90-year-old people in the halls of Congress and, the Senate too. But, we need young, fresh perspectives here. And I think this is kind of a breath of fresh air. So
no reason you shouldn't be able to afford housing, groceries, and healthcare with some money left over. Families should have free childcare. Social Security should be expanded. And our inalienable rights shouldn't be dependent on who's in power. That means standing up to authoritarians, not shrinking away when the fight gets tough. And while current Democratic leadership might be fine cowering to Trump, I'm not. I've spent my entire career reporting on the far right and being attacked by them as a result. In fact, just a few months ago, Elon Musk's lawyers deposed me here in Chicago to ask about my mean tweets. Look, I thought comedy was legal.
It's just so obvious. Jon Stewart had a bit about this tonight or last night where he's basically like talking about like Trump's like all these measures he's taking to basically like suppress any dissenting left-wing speech. And it's just so clear. Elon Musk is a clown. Trump is a clown. They don't believe in free speech in any meaningful way. Anything that they criticize, and they built this whole like dynamic where it's just like, I'm speaking truth to power here. Everybody who opposes me is evil, and it's just like, because it was like done to them for a while because, some left-wing people, this is like, there were some powerful like left-wing interests that would like for a while, like it's all this one big victim thing. What I'm trying to say here is basically like before Elon took over Twitter, Jack Dorsey was banning right-wing accounts left and right. Just this big victim narrative thing. Like, they don't care about free speech. They don't care about free speech. And Elon Musk gets in. He's banning like 4 times as many people. It's insane. Like, literally banning like multiple times more people than Jack Dorsey ever banned. It's absolutely crazy. It was a big thing. He went on Rogan to talk about it with that idiot Tim Pool. It's crazy, And, it's... This guy is such a baby boy, such a little weepy bitch, and it's just seeing him like blubber about this kind of shit. But it's good. People need to call him out. If you can, honestly, I'll give Kat credit. If she can get under Elon Musk's skin so much that they try to depose her in Chicago, then hell, I don't live in the state, but I'd vote for her. Fuck it. Just based on that alone.
Again. This is all to say, I'm not scared of standing up to these people. I know how they think, and I know how to beat them. But my campaign itself is going to be different too, because I don't want to wait a year to help people. We're focused on meeting constituent needs with one simple rule. What if we didn't suck? My campaign and I would rather spend our money on book drives and clothing exchanges and public events than fancy fundraisers for rich donors. I also want my campaign to be as transparent as possible. That's why I'll be posting regular videos about the costs and steps of running for office. We all deserve better. We deserve human rights and financial freedom and a party that stands up to authoritarians. We deserve to thrive, not just survive. And I plan to fight for those ideals both on the campaign trail and in Congress. If you want to know more...
It's good. It's good. She's young. She's dynamic. She's got a big social media following. This is what needs to happen. We need people who know how social media works, how to talk to young people. I don't know all her stances. We're going to take a look at her website after this, but This sounds good to me. This all sounds good to me.
More about me and what I believe, you can go to catforillinois.com. I do need to mention that campaigns cost money and ask you to contribute what you can. But I promise your donation will not be wasted on old, ineffective tactics. No spammy guilt trip texts, no focus groups to test my views, and no grifty consultants who care more about their paycheck than actually winning. It's time to challenge the status quo, and if our leaders won't do it, we will. I'm Kat Abughazaleh, and I'm running for Congress because it's time for Democrats to do more.
Okay. Let's check out our website. A little bit of her about me. I'm 26. I don't have health insurance, and I'm running for Congress. As in about half of the Congress, we have a representation problem, as in about half of Congress are millionaires and people born before the moon landing. That's a part of the reason we're in this mess. Our leaders are out of touch. We deserve representatives who face the same challenges we do. At least some have some time in the last decade. They don't deal with out-of-pocket prescription costs or nightmarish rent hikes or existential fear about their lives in 50 years. You and I do. I'm a renter. I don't have health insurance. My net worth is pretty much just the laptop I bought with my entire severance when I got laid off. And my adorable cat, Heater. Aww. I spend my time knitting, playing video games with friends, and reading sci-fi. Oh, she's a gamer girl. She's a manic pixie dream girl. Ooh, baby. We, people under 50, I guess, haven't had the chance to build wealth like previous generations. That doesn't make our lives worth any less. That's why we need representation that actually knows the realities of today's economic and social landscapes, because we deserve new social fit for 2025 and beyond, rather than the same ones our lawmakers have pushed since 2005, when this girl was 6 years old and I was 19. Ooh, baby. No, I feel like an old fucking man. But anyways, my campaign's top issues here. Basic existence. What do we got here? The United States is the richest country in the world. Most Americans can't even afford a $1,000 emergency expense. We have the most billionaires in any country, but also the most medical bankruptcies. And while prices have increased by about 50% in the last 15 years, the federal minimum wage has stayed stagnant at a mere $7.25. You should be able to comfortably afford housing, groceries, and health care. Each month with plenty of money left over, there's no reason you should have to take Uber to the hospital to avoid an ambulance bill. Elon Musk hides away his own personal component. Our existence isn't merely a means of profit for the richest people in society. These ideas should be controversial. At the very core of my campaign, we're often told that it's a lot more complicated than you think, but it doesn't have to be. We need more people in Congress to see basic existence as a black or white issue. Billionaires and corporations, not some woke crusade against merit. It's simply making them pay for their fair share. The rest of us do is on the dish, indecision and greed, so we can demand what the working class deserves, a life lived to pursuit of happiness rather than constant fear of poverty. That was a big thing holding Kamala back, but she was afraid to scare her billionaire donors. And as a result, plenty of people sat home and were just like, fuck it, I'm not giving that bitch my vote. Understandable. We can fund crucial government programs and subsidize nonprofits through government grants by implementing a modest 2% wealth tax on Americans with a net worth over $100 million. We can raise minimum wage to $25 per hour with increases adjusted for inflation. We can guarantee paid family leave and universal child care and so much more. Existence is a right, not a privilege, and we can't let anyone tell us otherwise. Okay. I like what I'm hearing. Let's see some more stuff here. Climate change, democratic reform. There's all sorts of good stuff here. I'm not going to get into every single thing here. There's a ton of stuff here. But I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you guys can check this out for yourself. But we should all agree Congress is broken. Our current system functions too much on greed, reward stagnation, and disincentivizes change. That's why we need serious overhaul of electoral system. Conversation about democratic reforms like multi-member districts and ranked choice voting are crucial to restoring trust in our government. First and foremost, we must also return Supreme Court's egregious Citizens United ruling, which allowed virtually unlimited sums of money to flow into American elections. Money is not speech, period. I fully support national conversation with implementing terms for members of Congress. I pledge to serve no more than 5 terms in the House of Representatives if I'm elected. The federal judiciary is also deeply broken. Supreme Court justices are partying with billionaires and openly taking bribes as they rule in ways that hurt millions of Americans. We need a binding code of ethics for Supreme Court and all federal judges, and we need Congress to rigorously enforce it. To depoliticize the Supreme Court must also require a 2/3 Senate majority to confirm justices, expand the court to 15 seats, and implement 18-year term limits for Supreme Court justices with appointments spread out evenly and fairly between presidential terms. Yes. More term limits. Please, for the love of God, get these geezers the fuck out of here. Enough with the billionaire, this incestuous relationship with fucking billionaires. Good God. I know a lot of people campaigned about getting money out of politics. This is a new generation. This girl's going to be around for a while. I really wish her the best. I'm going to toss her a few bucks when I get paid tomorrow, definitely. Elected officials serve the constituents. not the other way around. Likewise, voters should choose representatives, not the other way around. Gerrymandering is one of the key reasons many Americans feel their vote doesn't count, and they're often right in deep blue and red districts. An individual's vote doesn't often have the same effect as it would elsewhere. I support federal action to mandate nonpartisan redistricting commissions to draw congressional districts fairly and logically. Yeah, enough of this gerrymandering bullshit. Over the past decade and a half, the Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act piece by piece, despite sometimes offering voting rights advocates minor concessions. Like the creation of a majority black district in Alabama, the court has eaten away at core principles of our democracy. Congress must take action by passing the Freedom to Vote Act and depoliticizing the court itself. The bill will bolster democracy by protecting voting rights, ending partisan gerrymandering, improving campaign finance, and safeguarding electoral processes. Freedom to Vote Act is a historical pro-voter legislation to strengthen our democracy, promote justice, and equity for all Americans, and block anti-voter efforts in the states. In 2022 midterms, American democracy rallied despite the widespread rejection of election denial in the polls. Efforts to undermine electoral systems and push anti-voter policies continue to proliferate. These other attacks on democracy involve primarily targeted communities of color. Congress's legal and constitutional power to strengthen democracy by passing the Freedom to Vote Act. Landmark legislation sets baseline national standards to protect the freedom to vote, counter election denial, and partisan gerrymandering, help get big money out of politics, builds off momentum in states across the country to put in place pro-voter policies. Okay, good stuff. But I'll leave a link. I'll leave a link to Cat for Illinois in the description here. Lots of good stuff on here. I'm liking what I'm hearing from this young girl. Hopefully she can be young, dynamic, exciting, but so far so good. She's not in my state, but still someone I think is worth supporting if you live in Illinois. Somebody who definitely should be boosted. We need more people like this, basically. So I feel a little bit better. I'm not quite as black-pilled as I was earlier, but that's all I got for you guys for right now. Like, comment, and subscribe, all that good shit. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this girl's the real deal, or do you think she's full of shit? Who knows? But you can become a member, give me money on CashApp, la la la. See you later.
Ryan Little.